pull this up. All right, cool. Welcome in, welcome in, welcome in. So if this is your first time coming to one of my streams, my name is Dantes Akram. I go by Tez. I'm gonna go ahead and kind of give streams work, okay? If you don't like coming to places and learning and engaging, this is a place you wanna go ahead and click off of, okay? I do a lot of options trading, so everything we're gonna talk about today is options trading related. We're gonna go over specific setups for this week, some info. So with that being said, come in with some positive energy. Say what's up down below in the let's go ahead and rock and roll. Let's rock out. Let's go ahead and rock and roll. Let's rock out. All right, cool. So this is up right here. All right, bam. People in Twitter. Shout out to everybody in TikTok. So let's rock and roll. Since I do a lot of long-term investing as well, so I ended up posting a video of me breaking her investment account. So I do a lot of long-term investing, and this is something I want y'all to understand too. Is like, you know, a lot of people talk about, you know, options trading or just trading in general, but I still believe that the best thing to do when you're starting off is long-term investing. So like, if you work a 9 to 5, if you have a business, right? If you have a 9 to 5 or some type of business, or you make them right now, comment me down below in the chat, right? Currently do to make money. I think before you start jumping into trading, I think you need to learn how to preserve your capital. I think you need to learn how to push your money out there and how to get it to bring back more money. And I think that was probably one of the best decisions I ever made before jumping into options trading, because you have a longer term perspective of what you're doing with your money. So a lot of the times with trading, people are looking for instant returns, right? And I think for me, because I started off long-term investing at 20, and I started investing for my daughter when I was about 21 and a half. Because I was thinking in 5 to 10 year time intervals, or at least I'll be realistic, 5 to 7 year time intervals. I think with me thinking from this perspective, it allowed me to look at options long-term perspective as well. Does that make sense? Like, I didn't come into options trading or trading in general with the hopes to make a bunch of money. And that wasn't my perspective on it when I came into long-term investing. My perspective on thing was, hey, I just need to put my money somewhere where it can grow. And it's the same thing where it's like, I just want to grow as an individual. You see, one of the things that I've learned here in the market and being around other people, teaching other people and things like that, is that a lot of people don't have the level of success that they want in business and trading because you have not become the individual who can host these things. Like, you haven't became the person who can see the level of success that you want to see. And as annoying as unfortunate as the actual raw reality, people want things when they have not become the person to obtain those things. It's like a scary reality. It's kind of like everything is an illusion almost, right? Where like, I want this thing, but you're not willing to do the work. You want to lose weight, but you're not willing to go to the gym. In trading, right? But you're not willing to study on the weekends. You want to leave your job, but you can't show up to your job with a positive attitude and learn. So it's like, you know, a lot of the times there's a lot of people, I know we probably all have friends who always talk about the things that they want, talk about the things that they do to obtain what they want. And if they do it, it's only out of motivation. And the motivation is for the monetary thing. The motivation is for, you know, the specific thing that I can hold, the car, to be able to buy the watch, to get this girl. Most people never went after it so they can become the person that they always wanted to become. So like, you know, a lot of the times, even with trading, you have to be okay with understanding that you need to obsess over becoming the individual. Is that, if everyone's tracking me what I'm saying right now, comment track down below in the chat. Go out there and get the things that you want, have the level of success you want, wanting to be the person that you always wanted to be first. So, you know, a lot of times, especially with trading, people want a lot of money, but you haven't become the person to be able to learn how to manage money right now. And what do you do with your money habits right now? You know what I'm saying? You blow money every time you touch it. So why would you be given more? Think about it, more when you have not appreciated what you have. Why would he bless you with more when you have not properly planned out, properly thought about, currently already have? You know, there's this Byron Golden yesterday, And it just, the way he said it, I think it just really, like, it hit a nerve, right? And he was like, you know, the interesting thing about focus is that you tend to, the interesting thing about focus, is to obsess over one thing, is to lock in on one thing or lock in on a specific thing, right? So here's the crazy part. When you are so focused on getting the things that you want, what you already have. And gratitude, moving with abundance, is acknowledging everything that you have, being grateful for the stuff that you do have, that the things that you always wanted end up gravitating to you with ease. Isn't that crazy? And I think back now, like, times where I made the most money I ever made, or the times where I was the most happiest, is when I was the most grateful. And because of that energy, because of that vibration you putting off, you're obtaining. The universe works in mysterious ways. So it's the same thing, you know, you just gotta obsess over becoming the individual first before you can obtain the things that you always wanted. Okay? You gotta become the individual first, so that way you can obtain the things that you always wanted. Okay? So let's jump into it. All right, let's jump straight into it. A few different things. Okay? I low-key want to talk about Ulta, and I actually want to break this trade down to you guys because I talked about gaps recently, and I want to break it down a little bit more with this example. This out inside of TSA. If you guys don't know what TSA is, stands for the School of Threaded Arts. It is my trading school where we teach everything top to bottom. As you guys know, if I say TSA, that is what I'm referring to. Okay, we currently have around 6,300 members in there. People of all ages, all races, and things like that, all skill set, and be able to provide for families. So if you're that, you leave the like, leave a follow, and yeah. So I actually want to go over this trade because this was a very interesting trade that I feel like a lot of people may have missed out on. I don't think I explained this yesterday, so I want to explain it today. Okay, so I ended up rewinding about one candle, so one day. So this is going back to Thursday. So the first thing that we ended up noticing here with Ulta is that they were reporting earnings. Okay, so when a company goes public, okay, so this is for a little bit of a lot of the newer people. Shout out to 278 people right now in the TikTok live. If you guys could, let's get to 10K likes. At 10K likes, I'll share with you guys my indicators, since you guys are asking. So just get us to 10K likes. I'll share all of my indicators with you guys. You guys can just screenshot it. You don't gotta pay nothing to get the indicators and things like that. But okay, so basically what an earnings report is when companies report their financials. So when a company goes public, right, something called IPO, right, when a company goes public, okay, it's basically when they start allowing outside investors. They start allowing outside capital. When a company goes public, they have to report their earnings quarterly. This is a mandatory thing. This is why they're public, right? So basically when a company is public, they are okay with showing the full financials of the company, how much debt they have, what's their capex, which is basically how much money, you know, make the company better, or to invest into AI, invest into other companies, so on and so forth, right? Cash flow, what assets they're buying, full balance sheets, basically, like they're reporting their financials. So if you went public, think of it like this: if you went public, you're basically sharing all of your bank account information, the statements, how much money's going in, how much money's your net worth, you doing that, right? So every 3 months, they're called earnings. Companies are, right, they're reporting what has happened in the last quarter, in the last 3 months, what their results are, how much money was made, right, what things they have done. And then they're going to create a future forecast. They're going to report a future forecast, what they think is going to happen next, right, or what their hopes or expectations is going to be next. And the reason this is important is because when companies report earnings, this is when investors come in to either buy more or sell shares. And something that's important, too many people talk about, is that when you are looking at earnings, investors, think from an investor standpoint, like put your investor hat on right now, right? When you're in it for the future, not for the past. So when they're earning, what happened in the last 3 months? As an investor though, what's most important, yes, that's important, what happened and all, but what's more important is what you think will happen in the future. Do you think you'll make more money? Right? Because as an investor, you want to put your money in something that is growing. Am I right? Comment right down below if you agree, right? As an investor, you want to put your money towards something where it's growing because you want your money to grow, right? And a lot of times when companies are reporting their earnings, okay, when they're reporting their earnings, this is when investors step in. So a lot of times, people do that. People who trade earnings. Usually these are people who jump into a trade, either before their earnings or post earnings, which is after the earnings, okay? And a lot of times this is when stocks have really big swings, right? They'll gap up or they'll gap down. They'll make really big moves up and really big moves down. That's why I want to break this down to you, because again, before you can truly understand this trade, you have to understand why this was on my watch list. Do we all understand why it's on my watch list now? I was watching this stock because they reported their earnings. They beat their earnings. What I was looking to do is trades. What is trading a reaction? I want to see what other investors think. I want to look at it from a technical analysis. I want to look at a chart standpoint and see where would be a probable place for price to go. What would be a probable move for? So listen to this, right? I want to break this down to y'all right here, okay? So this is Ulta. They reported their earnings after hours, which is basically after the market closed. They reported their earnings, okay? So you couldn't trade this until the next day. So this setup is a setup that we sent out in the how you could have traded this and how I basically broke it down to TSA as well, okay? Love your knowledge and education. Thank you, Angelo. I appreciate it. If you guys share the live, it definitely helps a ton. But other than that, let's go ahead and get back into it, okay? So when you have a stock that gaps, right? So this open space, you guys see this from right here, from this wick all the way down here. Do you guys see this? I want to make sure that everybody's tracking me. YouTube, can you guys see everything? X, can you guys see everything? All my people on Twitter, let me know if everyone can see everything. Okay. So this is called a gap, right? This is where the stock, this candle, right? There was so many buyers, no red candles in between this space, leaving an open space, right? Leaving an imbalance on the chart. What do I mean by imbalance? It's basically an open space that has not been filled by a red candle. Would be the opposite. If this candle was down, right, and it was a open space here, it would be a gap back up, right? So you basically mark this out. So I will mark this, and this is called a gap fill, right? So this is where price created an imbalance on the chart, right? Looking at when a stock gaps up is one of the easiest ways to trade gaps is understanding the concept of how a gap works, okay? I want y'all to type this down below, okay? If a stock gaps, right, it can either go in that direction or it can fill the gap. So what do I mean by that? If all the and they have a really, really good positive beat, it's a possibility that the stock can keep running in this direction, even though it already gapped up, even though it already created an open space and imbalance on the chart. That's a probability that it can happen. Another probability, right, is that this stock could come back through and fill this gap and come back to 538. And it'll use this line as support. So basically, the charts don't like imbalances. But when it does create an imbalance, it doesn't have to be filled immediately. Everybody tracking me? Comment track down below if we're tracking. All right, we got 465 people in the TikTok live. Shout out to everybody here. If you guys are enjoying, please leave a like, leave a follow. But comment track down below. Even if you've never said anything this entire live, I want you to just comment track down below, okay? Good. We tracking. Awesome. So in this scenario, when something looks like this, right, where you have a massive gap up and then you're going into the next day, how would you have traded this? Okay, so I trade something called the Strat, right? So these things right here, do you guys see this part? Let me actually zoom in right here. Part of the Strat, which is the numbers under these candlesticks. So some people may look at this and be like, bro, what are all the numbers? What do those mean? I have a YouTube video online you guys can check out. I have it on Twitter as well for those who watch the whole thing on X as well for free, okay? Bizarre, okay? But a part of the Strat is time frame. So when you guys are trading, when you look at top-down analysis, right? If you've never heard of top-down analysis, is when you start on higher time frames and you work your way down, okay? The Strat is no day, to each of their own, right? It's when you start from the higher time frames and you work your way down, because the higher time frames are more true. they're not liars, right? So what do I mean by that? Like the 1 minute, the 5 minute, they're liars. Those time frames are liars. And the type of people who like those time frames are going to be scalpers. Now, I'm not saying all scalpers or anyone who trades on the 1 minute is it's not good or anything like that. No, there's different work for different people. You have to choose the strategy that works best for your personality type. You have to choose the type of strategy of trading that's best for your personality. If you're a more patient person, right? If you're more patient, right? Like moms are really patient, right? Like, let's be honest. Moms are really, really patient. I know my mom is really patient sometimes with me, right? But moms are pretty patient. Children, they have to deal with children who are not patient. So it forces them to learn how to be patient sometimes. Now, are they going to be tested? Absolutely. But the reason I say this is because if individual swing trading or day trading or holding a trade longer might be better suited for you. If you are a less patient person, then scalping or being in a trade for 10 minutes, 5 minutes, a couple minutes might be happen is y'all are out learning from other people on how to trade. And I commend you. Out to anyone who's out there teaching with the hopes that people actually get results. I commend you, right? But a lot of times you might be learning a trading strategy that does not work with who you are at, like with your characteristic traits. Okay. So I want to go back to this because this is very, very important, right? This is called time frame continuity. Time frame continuity. Okay. I actually need to make sure I get the moderators. Somebody remind me later today to get the moderator, the bots and stuff out. Okay. So this is called time frame continuity. So when you see these arrows, right, and you see the numbers, so this is the 30-minute, the hour, the 4-hour, the daily, the weekly, the month, and the quarter. Now, why are these important? It's basically what is green, right? The month, right, on the monthly chart is green. The weekly chart is green. The daily chart is red. The 4-hour is green. The hour is green. The 30-minute is green. So what this shows you is the trend. And it allows you to trade with the higher time frames as well in mind. So if you have something called full time frame continuity, it basically means all of these time frames are green. Now, the interesting thing about this trade is that when this stock ended up gapping up from their earnings, this green as well, the daily, which means we now have full time frame continuity, higher time frame. All the time frames are in alignment. They're in agreement. So what does this mean, right? If all of the time frames are in agreement, you should trade in that direction. There would be no reason for you to look back in the opposite direction. It would be no reason for you to short the market when all of the, right? Is that making sense? Comment yes down below if that's making sense. And let me go ahead and this actually works real quick. Boom. Okay. If this is making sense, drop a yes in the chat, right? One more time. So basically these are the different time frames. So on the hour, if I jumped up to the hour time frame, it's going to be green, or it's going to be bullish. The 4-hour time frame, it's also bullish, right? So on and so forth. So when you're trading the strat, you need to keep in mind the different time frames and if they're, bullish or if they're bearish. Okay. So in this market hasn't opened yet. So the daily time frame hasn't opened yet because the market hasn't opened yet. Okay. So when this opens, right, this is going to also be green, meaning that you have all the time frames are green. All of the time frames are bullish. So I'm looking for calls. There's no way to look at puts. There's no, I would, okay. So how would you trade this setup, right? When you have something that gaps up like this, how would you trade this setup? I personally like to do when I have gaps like this is I mark out the pre-market high and I mark out the pre-market low. Basically what this is showing me is, look, if this gap wants to come, say price wants to come back down here, it would need to break through here first for me to even think that we can get back down here. So I would look for puts under 564. Or if price wants to gap up and keep running, if bulls and buyers are in control, right? Price can move back through here and it can make a new high, right? And we're also near all-time highs for this specific ticker as well, okay? So this is a breakout trade. Everybody tracking me? Everybody tracking? The indicators once I'm done with this part. Okay. Thank you, Mike. I appreciate that. I appreciate all the people who defend me from the trolls in the chat. I just want y'all to know I truly appreciate everything. I truly appreciate it. Sometimes they be chatting, but we protected by God. So whatever they say, they gonna say. You know, I know what I'm doing. Okay. So in this scenario, watch how this plays out. So I'm gonna actually show you guys the signal too, just so you guys can see everything from a proof standpoint. So we're gonna go to day trading signals, and I want to show you this because proof is important. So look, earnings led to a gap up, and now flipping all time frames green, aka full time frame continuity. So look what time I sent this at, 9:14 a.m. right, 9:14 a.m. Gapped up nicely as well, and we're at all-time highs. This is a high, falls above 575, puts below 564. So the same setup that I'm showing y'all right now is the same setup that I sent to my Discord. Okay, and I want to show you how this trade played out. Okay, we're gonna drop down to a minute real quick just so we can show you. Okay, so soon as this triggers, you're looking to take the entry. Okay, soon as it triggers, you're looking to take the entry per the strat. So the first 5 minutes of the market opens, what happens, right? You have a 10-point move in the first 5 minutes. Now, this is very important, okay? If you're gonna look at time frames, please let the candles close. Comment that down below in the chat for me. Let the candle close. If you're gonna be watching the 5 minute, open, and you're watching the 5 minute, let the candle close. See how the candle closes first before you make a decision. Let the candle close. When you're in a trade, let the candle close. Because a lot of the times you're making rash decisions with a story that is only partly told. What stock is this? This is Ulta. If you guys know what stocks I'm looking at, just look over here on the right and you'll see the ticker. Okay. So the reason we ended up sitting in this trade, let's say you get a 10-point move right out of the gate when the market opens, right? And some people might be like, oh, I'm taking profits with a 5-minute day, so on and so forth. Well, this is how you table, because you're not looking at how a candle closes. You have all of the time frames are green, and you have a strong body candle closure, right? So this is a very strong candle closure. So price opened, retested 575, bounced and got bought up, and then came back to 589. And it closes like this with a very, very small wick to the upside, showing me that buyers are in control. So why would I close out my position when I know that the buyers are still in control? Why would I do that? It doesn't make sense. So then when you look at the next candle, right, you're more confident that the next candle is going to also be bullish because of the closed. Now, where would your target be in this scenario? Who can tell me in the chat? Where would your target be in this scenario? If you're trading something like this, right? Where would your target be? I get it. It's probably already on the name of this. Great job. Yes, you already got he got the answer right on the first time, right? 600 would be your target. But why would this be a target? What is this? What is this level? What is 600? What is 100, 500, 300? I know y'all know the word because I explained it yesterday. It's an even number, close. It's a psychological number. Thank you, Network with Kyle. Shout out to Kyle. 600 is a logical number. Okay, so here's something too. If you trade options and you look at the options chain, anytime you go look at rounds, round numbers will always have more volume on the contracts. Have you ever noticed that? Have you ever thought about that? Round numbers always have more volume. There's round number contracts than there is all the other numbers. Every time. And if you don't know, if you don't believe me, go check for yourself. Why? A round number is instantly think and just want to buy those contracts. It's less hesitation to buy those contracts, right? So if I'm looking at taking calls above 575, the first number I'm going to think of is like, okay, we could probably see 600. That's like the first number. I'm not going to think, oh, we can go to 593.65. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not thinking, oh yeah, we can go to 592.50. I go to a whole number. I go to a psychological number. So look how this trade ends up playing out. You wait until the candle closes. So this is 10 minutes into the market. You know, you're probably up a couple hundred. What I urge you guys to learn how to do is trim your positions. Learn how to size out of your positions. One of the best things I ever learned how to do was trim positions and manage my positions. And I'm going to talk about that next as well. Okay. I buy my contracts, how many I buy, and how I size out my trades. Is that okay with y'all? Let me know if that's okay with y'all. Drop a yes in the chat. Let's keep it engaged. You know what I'm saying? Thank you guys for sharing the lives. I really appreciate it. Okay. 535 people on the check-in on Twitter and on YouTube. Greatly appreciate everyone for being here. I hope you guys are enjoying. So look at the next candle, okay? You have an inside, right? So inside basically is consolidation. So the next candle didn't break the previous candle's high or the low. It's consolidating. But what I do, I am on the right side of the trend. So this is why this is important. When you have stuff like this, the time frames are on the right side of the trend. Comment that down below. Right side of the trend. I am with the trend. I heard that before. Like you guys who are learning, trade the trend. Well, when you're trading the strat and you use time frame continuity, when you're being mind frames, you are trading the trend. Hopefully that makes a little bit more sense. Rob will be so proud. Yo, shout out to Rob. May God rest his soul. He made this strategy. Mind you guys, I didn't make any of this, right? I've watched a bunch of Rob's videos on YouTube. You guys can, find this whole strategy on the strat on YouTube. I learned from Sarah the strat. Not to my mom for introducing the strat to me years ago. So yeah, I'm not the creator of this. I'm just an individual who uses it, and it works for me and it works for the people that I teach. So I hope that it helps you as well. Okay. His name is Rob Smith. You guys can look him up on YouTube. I think his channel should just be Rob. Okay. Now I teach it in a way where it's also easy for you guys to understand as well, but he's the original creator of it as well. So all credit goes to him. I do not take credit for any of this stuff. Okay. What I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna wait for the next candle to break. So your goal when you're sitting in this trade is your target is something, right? Stop touching stuff. Shout out to my mom in the chat. Love you, mother. Love you, love you, love you. One of the things that I'll tell you, stop trying to touch too many things when you're trading, right? Like when you are trading, you should only look at when your trade gets stopped out or your target gets hit. So if you didn't know, when you're on trade and you right click somewhere on the chart, you can set alerts. So since I have this rewinded, you can set alerts. But if you click at the top right, okay, you guys, so up here at the top, you guys see this top screen right here where you see this clock? You can create an alert. So since we're in replay mode, I won't be able to show you. Set an alert. So basically an alert will alert you when the target is hit, price gets hit. So TradingView will send you a notification of when your target gets hit. So for me personally, I don't look at my P&L. I don't look at the numbers fluctuating and all that stuff. Like it looks good for content, but like for me personally, for my emotions, I don't care for the numbers. I don't need to see it, right? So you set alerts. So in this scenario, you just set an alert at 6. You're telling yourself, the biggest part about trading is like the rules that you have to abide by. A lot of times, this is why I told y'all, you want to make a lot of money in a space, but you haven't become the individual to be able to follow rules. You want to make a lot of money in trading, but you can't follow rules for your life. You can't wake up on time, even though you say you're going to wake up on time. You can't eat healthy when you say you're going to eat healthy. You can't go to the gym. So it's like, why would trading work when you can't make real life work? If you can't make the rules in real work, why would you think that you're gonna come into trading with money? Right? Why would you think you're gonna come in and use money that is, you're already emotionally attached to it? Why would you think you're gonna do something completely different? It's like insanity. You are going into a situation expecting an outcome when you know for a fact you can't even follow the rules that you set to yourself on a day-to-day basis. Everything is habit-based. You know what I'm saying? And like, that's why I tell y'all, like, don't come in trying to make a bunch of money. Like, yeah, there's a lot of people who teach that. But like, what I will urge you is like, come in with the hopes to like focus on finding rhythm and finding new habits. So in this scenario, I set my alert. I do not touch the trade. Why? Let's say you're up 200% from here to here, from your entry to here. Let's say you're up 200%. What's the point of, like, granted, you're up 200%, great, but like, you have to follow your plan. You have to follow the rules. If I enter this trade and I set my target is 600, target hits 600 until I get alerted. If my phone does not alert me that my target is hit, I am not touching the trade. The only time I go stopped out, either it went against me or it went my direction, period. Like a lot of times, like I think people overcomplicate trading because so much media, so much noise is out there where they show you all these different ways to trade and show you all these different ways to react and content and stuff like that. And mind you, I make my own content as well, so I get it. But if you're good at this, from what I've learned and from what I've learned from other people who are 7 and 8, is that you have to learn how to be okay with just not doing anything. And that's the hardest thing ever, is learning how to just not do nothing. Stop giving your energy to things that do not require your energy. Like how I'm streaming. Right now I'm streaming with, there's 613 people on TikTok and on X, and then there's however many people are here on YouTube, right? And I see a bunch of negativity. Not everything deserves a response. Not everything deserves your energy. The people who've been, saying stuff about you, you don't have to prove anything to nobody. About is that when you are silent, that is the last word. You don't have to prove anything to nobody else, Like you don't have to go out there and make someone believe that you are something that you are. Silence is a response, exactly. It's a response. But it's this as, hey, you don't fuel me. I fuel me. God fuels me. My purpose fuels me. So detach yourself from the outcome. Detach yourself from what you think is supposed to happen. And just let what needs to happen, happen. So when you're trading, remind yourself, let what needs to happen, happen. The chart is going to do what the chart wants to do. Price is going to do what the price wants to do. The market is going to do what the market wants to do. You have no say-so in this scenario. You might have a say-so in every other area in your life, but in this, you do not have any say-so. And that is a crazy thing to realize, because somebody just said it in the chat, let go and let God. Let go and let the charts do what they do, period. Stop micromanaging. There's no need. So the next overall goal, when you're looking at this and you're watching on the 5-minute time frame, right? Anything, I might be up 200%, but my trade, I know where my target is. I'm not touching anything, right? You're still with the trend, right? So this is such a dope strategy. And when you understand how to use it, man, it completely changed personally, right? And for the people that I've taught, it's completely changing the game, right? Because confident when all of the time frames are in your direction, you are way more confident sitting in the trade. Is this futures or options? This is options. You are way more confident sitting in the trade. Now this strategy, the strat and time frame continuity and things like that, that works for Forex. It works for futures, amongst commodities, so on and so forth, okay? So I want to show y'all this too, okay? So I want to explain. Let me show y'all where the target gets hit. Okay, so your target is hit. Let's rewind one, and I want to break this down to you guys, okay? So how many of you, my X account is Dantes Akram, first and last name, okay? So I want to break down position sizing here, because I think for a lot of people, especially me, right? So when I say a lot of people, I'm talking to myself from in the past. So anytime I'm teaching y'all anything is me talking to with the hopes that you catch on to the lessons that it took me wasting money. It took me not wasting money, but losing money, learning with my money, right? It took me learning with my money to learn, okay? So position sizing. So how do you sit in your trades longer? How do you sit in the trades longer? Okay. So, you took the entry at 580, right? So you took calls at 580, your first hit at 600. How many of you have taken a trade and you exit the trade and you're like, yes, I made X amount of money. Just for it to keep going, just for you to miss out on another 500%, 1,000, 2,000%. How many of you have experienced that? Comment me down below, right? I'm pretty sure if you trade at all, if you've ever placed a trade, you've experienced this, right? You've experienced this, right? So it's one of those things was so frustrating because you're like, bro, why did I? And then you start being mad at being green. You start being mad at making money. You start being mad at the fact that, made in a day from your job, you just made that in a few minutes, but you're mad that it wasn't this. You have a negative outlook on that trade when in reality, this was a good trade. You followed your plan. Because this was following your plan, but the plan. Let me show you how you can manage your, just put it like that. If this is at all helpful, make sure you guys leave a follow as well, okay? When you took this entry, how do you make sure you're managing positions and how with in the first place? How many contracts are you buying in the first place? So I've explained this before, but I'm gonna explain it again. When I'm trading options, I buy contracts in thirds. Comment that down below. Buy contracts in thirds. Again, if you don't like engaging when you're learning, this ain't the live for you. You can go ahead and leave. But for those of y'all who are in here and you liking the information, right? Engage. This is how things stick in your brain. Trust me. Okay. Though, Tess, like, what are you talking about? Buying contracts in thirds. What does that mean? Okay. In numbers that are divisible by 3, that you can divide it by 3. What number can be divided by 3, y'all? Numbers can be divided by 3. 3, 6, 9, 12, 120, 150, 15, right? So we ain't got to be, extreme mathematicians, but I'm pretty sure if a number is divisible by 3, and if you don't, pull out a calculator or just do your numbers, 3, 6, 9, do all that. Okay. So I buy my contracts in thirds. Why do I do this though? A couple months ago, I had realized the trade that I had took was on Robinhood, okay? And this trade went 1,000%, right? So my contracts went 1,000%. So, if you put $100 in, you got $1,000, right? And what I had learned from this trade is that because I only bought one contract of that trade or of that specific setup, right? On Robinhood, because I only bought, ended up going over 2,000. So yeah, you turned $100 into $1,000, but you could have turned $100 into $2,000. And it's frustrating in the moment because you're like, what could I have done better? Here's what I learned how to do better. I'm buying the contracts in thirds. So here at my entry, I'm buying 3 contracts, for example, right? So again, it could be any number other than 3 as long as it's divisible by 3. Okay. So in this scenario, I'm buying 3 contracts. Okay. 3 contracts. Why am I buying 3 contracts? You got to learn how to trim position and play with house money. You got to leave runners. Exactly, Aaron. All right, shout out to Aaron. You got to learn how to leave runners. And I didn't really understand this until later in my career of trading, to be completely honest with y'all. Like, I'm just be honest. I was always like, oh, I'm green. I made 50%. And then the trade goes 300%. And I'm like, damn, what could I have done better? Like, when you have runners, okay, so what are runners? Let me explain. Let me rewind a little bit before I explain why runners are so important, okay? What a runner is, so let me show you this, right? Let's say your target is here at 600, right? Where's our target is 600. So you buy 3 contracts when you enter the trade, okay? You buy 3 contracts when you enter the trade. And what I'm going to do at my first target is either I'm going to sell 1/3 of contracts or I'm going to sell 2/3 of my contracts. I'm going to either sell 1/3 of my contracts at my first target or 2/3 of my contracts. Why do I do this now? Okay. It allows me to leave a runner. What a runner is basically saying, hey, I'm trimming my position. I'm taking some profits. I'm taking profits or some profits. And I'm seeing, hey, can it keep running to my next target? So if I were to look at this, right, your first target is at 600, but then you have to have other targets. So your next target is 610. My next target after that will be 615, basically using psychological numbers, 610, 615, 620, 650, so on and so forth, right? So in this scenario, when my first target gets in entire position and then watching the trade keep running and running and running, I can leave a contract. I can leave 2 contracts to see if it keeps going so I can maximize my profits. So that's basically you being able to maximize your profits. It's you being able to leave a portion of your trade in there so you can see if it keeps going to pay you even more. Y'all tracking me? Comment track down below if we're tracking. You're playing with house money. So what happens here? How do I manage, right? I buy 3 contracts here. I'm going to sell 1/3 or 2/3 of my contract. Once I sell 1/3 or 2/3 of my contracts, my next contract, see if it can take out 610 or 615. Those are my runners. Those are a contract or 2 that I'm leaving behind to see if it can pay me more. And others will sometimes pay you more than your initial profit that you took. So let me explain this, right? Watch this. Let's say you bought 3 contracts at $100, right? So let's pull up and let's pull off the magnet, right? So let's say you bought, let's go ahead and get in my teaching bag real quick. So let's say you bought 3 contracts times $100, right? So each contract was $100. So let's say you bought 3 contracts for $100, so you spent $300 total, right? So they're $100 each. what you're going to do, let's say this first contract, right? Let's one of the contracts, go do one con, is at, let's call it 200%. Okay. So let's say one of your contract here at 200%. So what happens now is that one contract is now equivalent to you making $200. Okay. Y'all tracking? A runner is a contract you left in the market. Exactly. It's a trade. It's a that you left behind to see if it can make you more money. Okay. So you sold one of your contracts at $200. Okay. You sold it at 200. Okay. When you leave the runners, right? So let's say you got two contracts left. When you leave the runners for your next target, which is up here at 6, you do is set an alert, and look what happens, right? It wicks your target. So it taps 610 to the cent. So now your next runner, right? Or your other runners, two contracts are going to be at, let's say, 500%. So had you sold all your contracts at 200%, yeah, you would have probably made, $600, something like that, right? But because you left two contracts behind, you're now able to maximize as the runners are going and getting a lump sum of more money. Does that make sense? Is this making sense? This is options trading, yes. Now, I'm just using the example. I'm using these numbers for example. So options contracts are going to differ based off the Greeks, which is a whole other thing. So if that didn't make sense, I'll explain it shortly. Okay. Yes, it makes sense. Yes, it makes sense. What part of this doesn't make sense? For those of you guys who feel like it's not making sense. Okay. What part of it does not make sense? That's why I think that'll be a better way for me to gauge how to answer the question properly. So that's another point. Stop loss for runners. I'm going to explain that right now. Okay. So you basically bought three contracts at $100. You held all three contracts. So you bought three contracts here. You held all three contracts up to your first target. So now you're going to sell off either one or two of your contracts. When you sell off those contracts, you're going to basically move your stop loss to break even. So what does that mean, right? So if you bought the contracts at $100, you're going to put in, let's put it like this. If you bought your contracts at $100 and now your contracts are at 200, right? Well, when I'm sizing out of my position, I'm going to put a stop loss at $100, which is the amount of money I paid for the contracts. So this is what it means to move your stop loss to break even. So now if I leave a runner, so let's say 2/3 of 600 and I leave a runner, let's say this doesn't keep going in my direction. Let's say against me. Well, the worst case scenario is that I break even. So now I've already shaved off my profits. I've taken profits. And the worst case scenario now for the runner stopped out at break even. I don't lose no money on it. So you're literally playing with no downside. And that sounds crazy in trading. If someone were to come in here and that was the first thing they heard, they'd be like, oh, I got to click off of here, right? But since you were in here and you were learning and you were asking questions and things like that, right? You were able to understand this. So is everyone understanding this now? This either works. It either works really or it works semi-good. But it never goes against me because I just moved my stop loss to break even. Now I'm not losing money on my runner. So now I either walk away with a small initial profits, or I walk away with a bag. It might go 200%, it might go 500%, it might go 1,000%. And then you just let the runner go until your next target. And then you say, okay, my runner hit the next target. Tez, what do I do next? Well, it's up to you. You move your stop loss again. So let's say these contracts are at 500% now. Well, for me, I'll move my contracts up to maybe 400% or my stop loss, I'll move it up to like maybe 350% or 400%. So now the worst case scenario for my runner is that it closes out at 400 or keeps going. So in this scenario for Ulta, because it's in a trend, right, it ends up going, I think the max we touched was about 611. So it never ended up hitting your last target. So you would have probably got stopped out when your last runner at whatever price. Is this making sense? So I took my here. I left runners. to maximize the trade. I move the stop loss to break even on the runners, so I can't lose on that runner. It either works or it works. And then I wait for my next target. Boom, next target gets hit. Do I want to sell the position or not? It's up to you. As long as you practice good risk management. And then you move on from there. Everybody tracking me? You can do this with zero DTE. You can do this with swing trades. You can do this with leaps. You can do this with pretty much every style of trading. You can scalp. You can do this with scalping, right? It's just a format of trade management. This is what this is. This is managing your trades properly. And this is something that a lot of 8-figure traders do. They manage their trades. Why close out the entire position when I can leave runners to maximize the position itself without any downside? What would be the point? Why walk away with $300 when I could potentially walk away with $600? Especially if I'm protecting my downside and there's no way that I lose anything under than 300. Under 300. Making sense? So how do you set a stop loss? How do you set a stop loss? So in Google, okay, or any platform, right? So you have your trade that's open. You have your trade that's open, you click on the trade, and then you click at the bottom, it'll say like, or something like that, right? You click it and it should pull up stop loss. And then you just put your premiums at break even. You put the stop loss at the amount that you bought your premiums at for the original contracts. Now I know that sounds complicated. I get it. But if you trade options, you know what I'm saying. 575 to 600 is 25 or 250%. So the percentage is going to differ based off the Greeks of the contracts. So I'm just using hypothetical numbers to explain this. In hindsight, this paid way more than a couple 100%. Yes. Sorry about that. We're at oh my God, we're at 47,000 likes. Am I reading that right? Oh, y'all are crazy. Yo, thank you guys so much. Holy. I greatly appreciate it, for real. Greatly appreciate that. It really means a lot. It really means a lot. If you guys haven't already, and if you're enjoying this, at the top, you should be able to hit the follow button. So if you do like it, go ahead and leave a like and leave a follow. If I stream pretty often. This entire week, I'm going to be streaming live. You guys will be why I get into the trades, if I lose money on the trade, if I make money on the trade, I'm going to trade it live, right? Complete transparency. I'll show the positions that I'm in, so on and so forth. So tomorrow is going to be at 9:30 a.m. Eastern, 9:30 in the morning. Pretty much this whole week, I'm going to trade live with you guys. And like I said, show y'all everything. I do this already with my Discord, but this is going to be just public. So you guys will be able to trade live with me. You'll be able to critique me if you want to, or you could just come in and learn. And that's really the whole goal. So yeah, hit the follow button so you don't miss that. Shout out to all the gifteds. Thank you guys so much. Let me go over these real quick for the sub. Mr. Artsy, thank you for the sub. Visionary Place, thank you for the sub. Anja, thank you for the sub. Biza, thank you for the sub. Stanley, thank you for the sub. Keith, thank you for the sub. Austin, Antonio, thank you guys for the subs. Divine Wisdom Purple, thank you for the sub. Marcus P. Kona, thank you for the sub. Dalix, thank you for the sub. Superior Paint, thank you for the sub. Carl, thank you for the sub. Thank you guys so much for all the support. It truly means a lot. Thank you guys for all the gifted as well. It truly helps a ton. I greatly appreciate it, to do this. Greatly appreciate it. I appreciate your focus and willingness to share your knowledge. Absolutely, man. I appreciate you for spending some time with me. The thing about me, man, is like I'm very realistic. Y'all are busy people, yo. And I truly value y'all. Like, I not only know you, but I value your time. So if you spend any minute, even if it's in 1 minute or 2 minutes with me, I greatly appreciate it. You live, but this week I'll be live every day. So, okay. Can we move on to the next thing? So do we all understand trade management? Do we earn in this short time period? So this is us trading a gap, right? This is us learning time frame continuity. So understanding when all the time frames are in sync. This is us also understanding trade when you're getting into the trade, how many contracts to buy. This is also us learning how to manage the position while you're in it. So when your targets are getting hit, shaving off profits, trimming your position. Right, so you just learned 4 different things in I've been streaming for about 54 minutes. So you've learned 4 different things in about 54 minutes. You guys, like find this valuable at all? Like, is this helpful at all? Let me know in the chat if so. Can this work in Robinhood? Yes, it can. You can stun things on across all platforms as far as trading goes. QQQ is set up in your WAP. As far as like how I teach it, yeah, like anything I do as far as all of this stuff, I teach everything inside my Discord, in depth in the Discord. So yes, from walking you through trading view, trade management, to confirmation of trades, to learning how to sit in trades longer, to what an options contract is, how to long-term invest. Like I said, I just bought her stock account in depth. I'll show you exactly what stock she has, how much money is invested there, so on and so forth. So I have everything inside there. And then there's a new curriculum that I'm going to be building inside of my WAP or inside of my school called M1 to 1M. I'm basically showing you everything I learned about long-term investing over the last 5.5 years. So I'll be breaking down literally everything inside of my Discord. Do you do classes for beginners? My community is super beginner friendly. What is Strat? Delta Strat? What do you mean DTE Strat? I just trade options. I don't have like any other strategy other than trading the Strat and certain tickers. So like here's a great beginner's tip, right? If you're a beginner, right? How many of you are beginners? Comment I down below. If you're a beginner, comment I. I'll do a go-to strategy that you guys can use. Okay, comment I if you're a not hi, I, like I am. Just comment me. Make it easier. Okay, just comment me. Real quick, let me check in on all my people over here on X. How you guys doing here in X? I don't know how to read the chat in X, but I'm gonna figure it out. So let's see here. There has to be a little bit more simple for us. Okay, so there's live chat right here. If you guys are here on Twitter, comment what's up down below real quick. I just want to see if I can actually see what you guys. Okay, so a lot of you beginners. Okay, cool. So I'm gonna give you guys a quick strategy. Thank you again, Tez, learning so much these last 2 months. Thank you for joining. I appreciate you. I know you're in TSA, so I greatly appreciate you for being a part of TSA. So let me show y'all this, right? If you're a beginner, this is one of the tickers that you want to be trading, right? Like if I were to go back to being a complete beginner, I would start off with less. What do I mean by start off with less? I would start off not trying to trade a bunch of different tickers. I would start off on 1 or 2 tickers. I would focus on 1 to 2 tickers. Like I think my biggest, and I wouldn't say it's a mistake because everything is just a learning curve. So it's just like how quickly are you open to learning things, right? And how quickly are you adjusting to learning? So part of learning is when you learn, right? To gauge how well a person is at learning, it's getting information and then changing what you do when you obtain the information. Like in order to learn, you have to change what you are doing. You have to change the input itself. That's what learning is. Getting information and changing. The tickers that I would recommend if I were to like go back to being a complete beginner, if I could just go back and relearn things, is I would trade IWM and QQQ. Right now, granted, a lot of these are either 0 days. You don't have to trade same day contracts. You can trade 2-day out contracts, 3-day out contracts, 5-day out contracts. But the reason I recommend these tickers is these tickers is number one, they have a lot of volume, so they move a lot. Okay, they're known tickers, they move a lot, and the contracts aren't crazy expensive. Okay, so tech companies like Apple, Nvidia, Google, Microsoft, companies like that are in this. IWM, right, is the Russell 2000. Okay, it is the Russell 2000. So with that being said, IWM is probably one of the most consistent tickers known to man. Like the streams that I've been doing, that I've been trading, a lot of it has just been IWM. And the reason being is because I found a ticker that works for me. Now shout out to JR because obviously I've heard of it prior to that, but he was one of the main people who had to just stick with it, right? And that's what I've been doing. And it's crazy because my win rate has gotten so much better, all because I've gone to focusing on less. It's crazy how you start doing better when you focus on doing less. Okay, what is a tickers? Tickers are basically abbreviations of companies, right? Or so like what is a ticker, right? If I were to type in Apple, right? Apple's ticker is AAPL. So they're like abbreviations. So when people say they don't know how to invest, you do know how to invest because you're buying things that you know and love. And guess what? If you're buying those things, there's millions of other people who are buying it as well. So like, how many of you have an iPhone? How many of you have an iPhone? Comment me down below if you have an iPhone. If you're watching this stream right now on an iPhone, comment me. The interesting thing about this is that people say, oh, I don't know what to invest in. I don't know how to invest. You have an iPhone. You have a $1,000 product in your hand right now, but you take it for granted. Consume more than you produce, and then you wonder why what you produce never flourishes. You took your time, traded it for money, made the money, bought a resource, and yet it has not brought you any money. So you paid $1,000 for this thing, right? You paid $1,000 for this thing, and you use it with no type of hurry to make money, right? And what I've learned is that success loves speed. So like, when people say I don't know how to, or I don't know what to invest in, right? You bought an Apple phone. Well, what's the ticker for Apple? AAPL. What other products do you like? Right? Think about it like that. Right? What your kids love eating McDonald's. Who can guess what the abbreviation is for McDonald's? Who can guess is for McDonald's? Comment it down below. They're very simple. Like, a lot of this is like, even though you're more aware than you think, you're just not as conscious of it. Exactly. MCD, McDonald's. Cool. Right? So like, a ticker is just the abbreviation. It's the stock, right? So, Ulta Beauty, the ticker is ULTA, Ulta, and this is the stock, right? American Express, AXP, brings up American Express Company. That's the stock. If you use American Express, right? How many, if you're here on YouTube right now, comment me, right? If you're watching this on YouTube, guess what? Who owns YouTube? Who owns YouTube, y'all? Who owns YouTube? Google. What's the abbreviation for Google? What's the ticker for Google? GOO, Google. There's the Google stock. So it's less about if you know what to invest in. Now, obviously, you got to do more, knowing what you have, and you got to look at more stuff than just that. But you have an overall it takes to make things work. So that's kind of the point I kind of wanted to get past. Okay. Okay. YouTube got a whole minute lag. Stay on TikTok. Oh, for real? That's crazy. I definitely thought we were up to date on all of them. Yes, this is all options, not this is not spreads. So do we feel like we learned something so far, y'all? Like, being in this live, you may have been in here for who knows how long, but do you feel like you've learned something now? Do you feel like you like the way that I teach? Do you feel like you would be like, oh, like, do you feel like there's a lot of other people who teach, but like, this just made sense to me. This clicks for me. Like, you didn't have to pay anything to be here, but do you feel like, hey, like, yeah, hell yeah, I learned something today. Like, you woke up on a Sunday, you know what I mean? It's almost 1 o'clock. You came in and you learned something, and you feel good about yourself. You're the best. Thank you. I like your style. Thank you. I appreciate it. Awesome. How can I join your Discord? So I usually do open and close enrollment for my Discord. Basically, I open it and close it once at a time. But here's what I'll do. If we get enough yeses in the chat, I'll open it for you guys. But obviously, like I said, this is only for the people who are serious. I'm not here to, like, I don't want to have to sell anyone on anything. This is for the people who, like, said, hey, I like the way he teaches. This is the person. Oh my God, the yeses are going insane. But like I said, like, I don't want to sit here and try to convince anyone anything. I don't want to have to try to sell you on anything. It's either you like the way that I teach and you want to learn more, or you don't. You know what I mean? And the biggest thing is, if you think that the paid information, or if you think this free information is good, you could only imagine what's in the paid information. Okay? can only imagine what's in the paid. So here's what I'll do, right? The wait list is currently in my bio to join the Discord. I'm gonna remove it and replace it with the enrollment link. Okay. So here's what I'll do. Let's grab this. Let's see here. Let me see if I can grab the link for you guys. So here's what I'll do. We have a ton of yeses in the chat, and like I said, success loves speed. So this is only for the individuals who actually want to learn. If you have a problem with me teaching, then you should try teaching it yourself, and let's see how that goes, you know? But if you want to learn from me directly and you check it out, I think you'll love it. So here's what I'll do. I'm going to link in my bio right now. So normally someone asks me in your Discord, so I'll break it down first. We trade live in the Discord, number one. So I'll show all of pretty much everything in, when I'm getting out, my stop loss, all that stuff. Complete transparency, number one. Number two, we teach everything. So if you're a complete beginner, you don't know what a stock is, you don't know what options is, you don't know any of that stuff, right? We teach everything from a beginner standpoint, regardless of your race, regardless of age, regardless of your belief system and your environment. We teach things based off of a system that has worked for me personally and works for other people of all ages, all races, okay? If you have an, okay? So there's calls that are Monday through Friday, pre-market calls. So every week, right? Every day, Monday through Friday, during pre-market, so from about 8:30 a.m. to about 9:25, I get on a Zoom call with you of TSA, and I walk you through the entire market, okay? On top of this, you get access to our curriculum that is about 30 hours long. Now, curriculum itself is about understanding how to get the information and how to actually understand it and comprehend it, okay? On top of this as well, we do calls, like live calls on Tuesdays at 7 p.m. Eastern time, where I just answer questions, or we'll break down different charts. We'll break down what we see for the week. We'll go over different things. We'll go over some of the traders, like in our group. We'll go over their trades, what they made mistakes on. But most importantly, you get to connect with other people, right? Like I think one of the hardest things about learning is being around other people who are just as interested as you and have a burning desire to be successful. So if you're that type of individual and you feel like this is the route for you, what I just did is the normal subscription is $150 a month to be in my Discord. Right now it's $75 a month, and it'll be open for 5 months. Now, if anyone has with enrolling, you can let me know in the chat. However, the first 3 people who enroll into TSA today, I will refund your $75. So the first 3 people will get the entire $75 refunded. And then on top of that, you can book a 30-minute consultation call with me. So I'll walk you through some of the questions that you have, and we'll pretty much break everything down to you. All right. So the link live, I'm going to show you how to actually access it. Okay. I'm going to show you how to access it. So you are here on the stream right now. I'm going to send the link for those of you guys who are in YouTube or on X. I'm going to send the link in the chat. So just give me a second. For those of you who are here on TikTok, this is where you're at. Okay. All you have to do is click my profile at the top right. See this. When you see this, you want to click the link in my bio. Boom. When you click the link in my bio, it'll be the very first option right there. It's buzzing a little bit. You guys can see it. You're going to click on that. And then it'll pop up right here. $75 a month. Okay. It will not go to $150 a month next month. You will be grandfathered in at 70. You raise the price to $200 a month. You'll still be at 75. Now, again, this is only for the individuals who actually think that this is something that they really want to do. And they're committed, right? So if you have questions on this, you can drop it down below in the chat. Okay, you can drop it down below in the chat. So yeah, and feel free to ask questions as you guys go. Trolls in the chat, if you were so good, why don't you stream? Why don't you teach? But you're sitting here watching me. I love it. God has blessed you with intelligence, you know? God has blessed you with obvious intelligence, right? Obviously. God is great. For those of you guys who are here on TikTok, Twitch, or not Twitch, what am I talking about? Yeah, Twitch actually, and YouTube. The link is now here on YouTube and on Twitter and on Twitch. So are now in the chat for you guys right now. When you guys enroll into TSA, you have to come and comment I'm in or got it or something like that. And again, only the first 3 that consultation call and their and they're 75 bucks refunded. Everyone else, you know what I'm saying? This is why first 3 people, I don't have that much time in a day to be able to do those. Deal again, it's open right now. And 35 seconds left. Okay, can you walk me through it one more time? Okay, so look, you are here on the stream, okay? You are here on the stream. Whoops, you're here, okay? You're gonna click the top right corner of this stream. You're gonna go to my account, okay? Once you go to my account, you're gonna click the link in my bio. So it says link tree. You're gonna click that link. You're gonna click the very first spot, join TSA trading group plus live Zoom calls. You're gonna click on that. Once you click it, you'll be able to enroll right here. You'll get instant access. And then we do onboarding videos. So if you don't know how to access Discord, if you don't know how to access WAP, if you don't know how to maneuver on these platforms, so there's a full onboarding section. And then on top of that, all members who join TSA as well, I am partnered with Prime Corporate Services. So if you guys have never heard of that, they are one of the top tax companies in the United States. What this means is basically you can get your taxes done by a certified CPA, and it's discounted when you guys are a part of TSA, but you also get a free trading LLC. So what does that mean? You can trade and save on taxes under an LLC, all under a corporate LLC, under a registered LLC. So all of that stuff is free. You just got to cover the LLC itself in your state, which differs. These are the type of things that I have connections to. How many are currently in the group and you also get access to the curriculum? Yes. Would you guys curriculum that you guys get access to? Are y'all interested in seeing the curriculum itself? What is the free? The free Discord just has an 8-hour course and a couple ebooks that you guys can pretty much read through. Okay. You guys have 30 seconds left. Yes, please, okay, I got you. It's my first time on your live, no problem. Here's what I'll do. I'll go over to here and I'll drag this over to this monitor and I'll show you guys real quick. So this is what it looks like. This is our curriculum right here. So like I said, if you're a complete beginner, this is something that you're able to learn from. So let's do this. So as you guys can see, 16 chapters, 59 lessons, 29 hours. Does that matter? No. What matters is the transformation. What matters is what you're able to do with this information. Okay. So let me actually walk you guys through it. Where'd it go? Okay. So here it is right here. So first off, we have the start, which is chapter 1. Okay. This is basically going to break down the introduction to stocks and investing as a whole. So if you're a complete beginner, this will walk you through everything. It's about an hour and 45 minutes, but this will catch you up on all the beginner stuff. Okay. Next is the mentality of a great trader. Not letting me do it. Man, what is it saying when you're trying? And guys, you have 19 seconds left. So this is all of the beginner friendly stuff that you need about stocks, talking about liquidity, talking about volume, talking about shares, talking about all that stuff. So all the beginner friendly stuff is walked through. Then we have risk management and how do you grow your account. So even if you have a $1,000 account, have a $2,000 account or even bigger accounts, because we do work with individuals who are working 9-to-5s, right? So some people have more money. If that's you, it's you, right? But we show you how to grow your account and how to compound. I'm not one of those people on here who's going to show you how to make $10,000 in a month and $50,000 in a month right out the gate. No, I'm the person to show you how to make a couple of extra $100 every single week. And as you make more money, right? You know what I'm saying, you will be able to understand how to, compound and really make a lot more money. Fundamentals. So we talk about the different platforms that we currently use. Okay. Next is the chapter 3, trading and investing brokerages, right? So as you guys can see, M1 Finance, Webull, Robinhood, regardless of the platform that you currently have here. Okay. Technical analysis. And real quick, let me do this real quick. Somebody just sent me a link. Give me 1 second, guys. Okay. Next, so we walk you through TradingView. We break down candlesticks. We walk you through how to actually set up your trade setup to make sure that you have everything set up the right way. We walk through market structure, uptrends and downtrends, how to chart key support levels, support and resistance, volume, liquidities, using the Strat. So everything, you guys will learn that in here as well. Which is that you can print and laminate. Okay. Next, we talk about smart money concepts, which is another concept that we use with trading that I personally use. You have options contracts, so how to know which contracts to choose. So choosing options, expirations, strike prices, so on and so forth. How to leave runners and manage your position. So everything we talked about today will be in here as well. High probability setups is also included. So all of my favorite setups and the things that I personally like. Confirmation of trade entries, so how to use the 5-minute time frame to find your entries and how to get confirmation. If you have a 9 to 5, how do you swing trade, right? How do you sit in a trade and be able to stay in there without having to watch them? On top of this, we also show you the different tickers to start off with if you're a complete beginner. And then we have some AI tools. I have a whole scanner that you can use to scan the market for your favorite strat setups, and a lot more information in here as well that you get access to. So all of this is along with the live calls, live trading, so on and so forth. And then for those of you who are like, hey, I want to see some proof, these are all the people who are in TSA right now. So we'll go to the most recent. We do have people with smaller accounts and we have people with bigger accounts. So let me just actually walk you through the results of all of this, because I think that most is the outcome. So again, shout out to this person, 95%, $23 to $45. Like I said, working 9 to 5, making a couple extra, $20, $50, $100 a day. Those definitely add up. 65% here on IWM, $180 here, right? 200%, 100% here, 70% on Apple, 146% on IWM, 50% on 15%, 32%, so on and so forth. $200 on the day, $1,000 on the day, 132% on the account or on the trade, 300% of the account. So they basically tripled their entire account. 80% on Apple, 80% on Target, 255% on IWM, almost 200% here on IWM, 86%, 100%. If we keep going, this is on a day-to-day basis. Now, this is the Trading Profits channel. And then if you go over to the trading floor, you guys can obviously talk to all of the other individuals who are in here. So, and this is what I mean when you're a part of a community of individuals who actually want it with a burning desire. You don't want to be out here trying to learn something and then you feel like you're doing it all by yourself. In the chat, like, you can go learn all this on YouTube. Absolutely, I agree. Go learn it on YouTube. And then at some point in time, you'll realize all the information is scattered. So the reason people pay for information is because you're paying for organized, deliverable information, right? So you have other individuals learning from this curriculum, learning different things, sharing their ideas, sharing what's working for them, sharing what's not working for them. You have me communicating with you on an everyday basis inside of here as well. You have people showing real account sizes. So he actually joined TSA 3 weeks ago. To $3,300. He ended up losing some money on Friday, which is going to happen. But another good thing that you're getting access to transparency. You're going to be amongst other people who are sharing their losses, sharing their wins, sharing their emotions. So if we keep back down, 135% here on QQQ, 57%. So this isn't me sending out trade signals. This is people learning how to trade on their own. That is what you're learning when you're in here. This is why I don't sell signals or none of that bullshit. Or BS, sorry, I'm working on my cousin, right? I don't sell signals or nothing like that. Get the market and make decisions. As you guys can see here, Izzo runners got stopped out though. It was a good day of trading. So he made about $100 on the day here. 315% here on QQQ. Keep going. You guys can obviously see how active it is. I call out all of the targets when I get into my trades. I call out literally everything so you get alerted straight. We also send out the flow, so basically how much money is being put on what contracts, so on and so forth. This is me trading as well, so everything I'm showing you guys is me actually doing in real time. If we keep going, 32%, this person made 25, and you know what I'm saying, you only make a couple hundred extra bucks a month or a week, I'm sorry. That goes a long distance for you, right? Keep going, $180 on the day, 100% on one trade, right? So everything I'm showing you again is stuff that we're actually doing. So yeah, yes indeed. Cool. Bort. Hey, when I heard Kanan say that for the first time, bro, I was crying, bro. I'm like, where did he get this from? And you have daily pre-market calls on Tuesdays, evening call weekly? Yes, something like that where I'm traveling. But yeah, how do I know if I got in on the deal? Just check your email. Anyone who enrolled into TSA. So real quick, if you did enroll into TSA, comment got it out real quick. I'm gonna go through the first 3 people as well and refund them. Get off this live. So yeah. Hey Bort, I don't know if you're still in here. Listen to this. 630 followers, 13,000 total viewers. On YouTube, we have 70 new subscribers. Shout out to Landon for enrolling into TSA. Shout out to Tsunami for enrolling into TSA. To Anomaly for enrolling into TSA. Boy from the Block. Shout out to Boy from the Block for enrolling into TSA. Tim, shout out to you for joining in and enrolling into TSA as well. We're going to actually do a call tonight to go over what we think is going to happen this week in the market. Alicia, she made us. Let's keep going. 44 bucks, 109% on that trade, 731% here, 88% here, $329. I actually have never traded on Mumu, but she going crazy with Mumu. Is there a monthly fee for your Discord? Yes. We opened it for 75 bucks a month. The link. Yeah, complete transparency, you guys. So notice how all of the hate stopped in the chat once you start showing the results. Then it's like, oh, maybe you do know what he's talking about. Back over here. They all left. I know, right? As soon as you start showing, he might actually not be the one I control today. But like I said, I'm protected by God, yo. So like, whatever somebody want to say, it's all good, you know. I know you might not be happy with yourself internally, but I'm blessed, man. So call tonight. I can't wait. Yes, call's gonna be. I think we're gonna shoot for a little bit earlier. I think we might shoot for a little bit earlier. I think ideally, I low-key want to do an early session call. Like if we could do something like 3 p.m., that'd be amazing. That way it can be a little bit longer. But if not, we'll do 7 p.m. our normal time. If you got haters, you're doing it right, brother. Facts. That's a fact. You giving out too much gems. I had to join. Yes, sir. I know you're gonna love it inside, man. So if you have any questions, let us know. We have support members in there as well that can help you guys with your overall experience. What's up, Mercy? Welcome in. What's going on? Excuse me. All right, let's move on here. Actually, what time is it? It's 1 p.m. Okay, so I got a little bit of time. Excuse me. Trying to learn more about trading. You in the right place, my brother. You are in the right place. All right, let me what was I gonna pull up? What is it? What is the ticker? Fuck, I can't remember the ticker. I think Tesla. Relocated. I'm in ATL. We are in ATL. Okay. So let me actually see. So now I want to break down. What should we go over next, y'all? What do y'all want to learn next? What do you guys want to learn next? What do you guys want to learn next? Oh, no, I ain't all that, though. Hey, Zoe, I ain't all that. No. How do you sell in thirds? Okay. So when you guys are buying your contracts, right? So like what brokers do y'all use? Chef, Nikki, you can click the link in my bio. What brokers do y'all currently use? Robinhood, Webull, Thinkorswim. What platforms are y'all currently? Comment it down below in the chat. For futures. So I don't actually trade futures. Everything is my own capital. Okay. So when you're buying your contracts, right? So like how would you buy your contracts? How do you do the trade management itself? You're basically, Thinkorswim was sold to Schwab. It was. I completely forgot. I actually don't use Schwab either. So I only use Webull and Robinhood. So when you're trades, right? Whether it's on Robinhood or Webull, anytime you take a trade, soon as you take the trade, so let's say you enter the trade, you have your contracts. Go to the contracts that you just bought. And at the bottom left on both platforms, right? On platforms, at the bottom left, it will say either trade or sell. It'll say one of those two words. You click it and it'll pull up stop losses. Okay? When it pulls up stop losses, the important part for your stop loss is where it says stop loss, and then it's gonna have a take profit. Your take profit is where you want to get out. So I normally just put a random number there that's a lot higher than where the price is right now. And then my stop loss, you either do like a 30% stop loss, 50% stop loss, or you're doing a break-even stop loss. And it's all based off. If you bought the contracts for $100, that means your premium on the contracts was $1, was 1.00. So if you were trying to put a break-even stop loss, you would put it at 1.00, which means that's at break. Put the stop loss at break-even when the trade is already green. I'll be able to explain this better tomorrow when we are trading live. So that way you guys can see it for yourself. But that's in words, in the simplest way possible. That's how you do it. That's how you do it in the simplest way possible. What time tomorrow? 9:30 a.m. 9:30 a.m. How many times you go live? In 3 times. I'm gonna be more consistent though, for sure. Been wanting to learn years. You're in the right place, my guy. We show you how inside of TSA as well, Zoe. I don't know if you enrolled in already, but we show you how inside of there as well. You should hold an in-person for ATL people. I was supposed to do it last month, but I don't know if I'm gonna only do it for my group first, or if it's gonna be public. I just got to get an idea of how many people show up. I'm so on the fence. What would you say is the main thing holding you back, or what's the that has you on the fence? I'm just outside ATL. Yeah, I know for show up, but y'all got to keep in mind, I have a really big audience. Like, I think right now we're at like 730,000 followers across all platforms. Like literally 700 something thousand. So like if I posted and I did an event here, I would more than likely do it for free. Or I have to sell tickets to get an idea of how many people will come, so I can have like security and all that stuff. But it will more than likely, if I could do it for free, like the only problem with doing it, how many people are showing up. So then when you're looking at a venue, how do you know what venue? So like I think I would have to sell tickets and then choose the venue from there. Or I might just choose the space first, and then I don't know. I'll have to reach out to Neo. If you guys know Nehemiah Davis, that's a good friend of mine. I might have to reach out to him and see how do I structure this. I mean, I could do security. I'm a lieutenant at the sheriff's office, but by all means, I actually have a security team that I can reach out to that can do everything too. Use Eventbrite for free tickets. Okay, cool. Y'all put me on game. So I am so new. I am worried I might be overwhelmed in this space. Well, here's the thing, right? Would you rather be overwhelmed in this space of learning something new, which we all know when you're learning anything new, it's going to be overwhelming, or would you rather be overwhelmed with anxiousness of not making a decision? What I've learned is that a lot of anxiety or being overwhelmed usually comes down to making a decision that you haven't made yet. And you got to look at it from a worst case scenario and a best case scenario, right? Now, most people always think negative first, so what I'll do is I'll start in the opposite. Best case scenario is you try this thing out. When you like it, you end up learning way more than you ever thought. You start now sticking with it way longer, being more confident than you ever thought. And then you actually start making money. And then you start building consistency. And now you change your identity. You transform yourself into the person you always wanted to become, because now you're around other people who are doing it, but you're also learning the skill that you always wanted to learn. Worst case scenario, you don't like it. You come to the trading calls, you find it overwhelming, you think everything is too complicated, and you reach out to me and you say, hey, Tez, can I get a refund? And then you see that we give you an instant refund. So the best case scenario, which is highly likely, is that everything goes exactly as planned because we have a system for it to do so. The worst case scenario is that you end up not liking it and you get your money back after already trying it out. So in that scenario, take. And that answer is up to you. Just do a Zoom. It's easier. You can get everyone in together. The only problem with doing it in Zoom is that I feel like when you do it in person, you will be able to connect with people. Thank you. No problem. We'll see you inside. Anything we can do to make it a better experience for you, let me know. Can I ask y'all a question real quick? Is it cool if I ask y'all a question? Is it cool if I ask y'all a question? For all of you in here, right? I'm pretty sure most of y'all have paid for information, right? What has given you the worst experience? Like, what was, like, if you did pay for information, what absolutely turned you off? What was the thing that was like, never again? That pretty much kind of put a wall up when someone is trying to give you information, or next time you pay for information, there's a wall up. There's a consistent level of that, right? What is that thing? Or what was that experience? Not getting such paid information, lack of hands-on, when you realize they capping. WhatsApp training is insane. They don't provide enough value. Okay, so for those of you who are saying that information, or they're not providing what you thought, in those scenarios, how do you gauge that? How do you gauge that? Some people don't give you all the sauces, they give you half information. Okay, that's a good point. But like in those scenarios, right? In all three of those, right? How do you gauge if it's not valuable enough? You complete all of it and then you realize this was BS? Or is it like how do you gauge that? Like I'm genuinely curious. Like I'm trying to understand. Energy and vibes don't lie. Body language. Okay. Okay. I don't think I've ever heard that one before. Interested in learning trading. Kelly, go ahead and drop your questions down below. Okay. Makes sense. I'm just trying to get a better idea of how it all works. I mean, like, as far as like, because I buy a lot of stuff. Like, mind y'all, like, I buy mentorships, but like people, here's what I'll tell y'all, right? I pay high ticket stuff, right? So like, I still buy groups and stuff like that. That's like $200 a month, you know, $300 a month, so on and so forth. But like the stuff that I buy now at where I am in my life right now, I am buying things that are high five figures, not even high five figures. The last thing that I paid for was a mentorship and it was $23,000. So like, I try to look at it from a standpoint of like, I'm buying, like when I'm paying somebody, I'm not just paying for information, I'm paying for a transformation. Does that make sense? So like, even for me as an individual who teaches, right? I teach for free and I have paid stuff, right? Everything is transformation based. And then I can base someone's transformation off of past clients, past students, past things. So I have a gauge of how good I am at what I do. And then if it's bad, right, then I basically, you know, go back and I re-enhance it and I take times better. So that way any new criticism is just gets smaller and smaller and smaller, unless people are just picky, right? But for me personally, right, I pay for very expensive stuff because I understand the type of transformation that I can obtain when I pay a lot of money for something. But you only get to that point when you so like attached to the money. Does that make sense? I'm not attached to the money. I understand that money circulates. Like I understand that people, who am I to judge what a person's worth is? If mentorship call that I took was $3,500 an hour, who am I to say that you're not worth $3,500 an hour? If you have the outcome, if you have the result that I want, and then you tell me your price, I'm going to pay your price because of the transformation that you've not only had in yourself, but so like, I strongly urge you guys in the future is like, for me, I try to buy more information. Like, I don't hesitate at stuff like that. If someone told me, some of y'all don't understand, but like Myron Golden, I don't know if y'all know, Myron Golden's mentorship, I actually talked to him in person when I was getting my $1 Million in a Year award. At that time, this was 2.5 years ago. At that time, for mentorship for 1 year, it was $100,000. That same mentorship now, with less access to him right now, is $250,000. So it's like, you know, a lot of times people be like, oh, I don't think I want to do that because of the price, so on and so forth. But it's like, it could all, people be like, oh, I don't know if I want to pay $75 to be in blah, 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 blah. What goes a month? It could always be $1,000 up front. It could always be $2,000 up front. It could always be $3,000 up front. So it's like, how do you gauge someone's worth? You know what I'm saying? Platform I'm using. This is TradingView, and then I trade on Webull. You can trade futures. You can trade futures on what is it called, y'all? Fuck. You can trade futures on TradeStation, but you can trade futures on, bro, what is the Tradeovate? There we go. I was about to lose my mind. Tradeovate is another good platform. They charge $10K at Earn Your Leisure. Exactly. And here's the thing, right? It's gonna be worth more than that. Close friends with Ian, right? And like, I've heard people say bad things about, you know, paying him $10,000 Panda. And to me, it's like, well, if you're like, you're just not his target audience, right? Like anytime someone says, oh, that's not gonna be for me, or this is a scam, you're just not my target audience. You know what I'm saying? Like, if someone's out of if price is out of someone else's, that doesn't mean it's gonna be out of everyone's reach. So you gotta really like understanding who your target audience is. Not everyone is your audience. Not everyone is your, like, just like everyone isn't your friend. Like, you have different categories of friends. You have certain friends that you can kick it with. You have certain that you can go out and build businesses with. You got certain in them, right? And then you got friends where, you know, they might not even be friends. They just associates. You just say, what's up? Y'all kick it here and there, you know, on the side. And then that's it. You never really talk. Y'all talk once a month, twice a month, but y'all are still cool. It's the same thing. Did you create that? Nah, I didn't create it. All right, 20. All right, y'all, I got to get ready to head out. I'm going to go run a mile real quick. And then I got to teach a class with TSA. So if you guys are in TSA, shout out to all of, if you're new and you do want to join TSA, I'm going to leave the link up until 1:30 for $75 a month. So you can check it out. You can read the testimonials. You can read, it includes all of that stuff is in my bio. So you can check it out. But I'm going to go run a mile real quick. Some